Chapter 1978. Alex smiled and said, looking back at Uncle, everything is fine. How are you and Aunt Iko?
Okay.
We are fine. Oren nodded repeatedly. At this time, Iko stood beside him, looked at Alex on the screen, and said with a smile, Alex, when will you come to Eastcliff for a few days? Uncle has been thinking of you especially recently. Basically, I have to hear about you several times a day, and my ears are about to grow cocoons. Alex smiled and said, Uncle and Auntie, when I finish my work, I will make time to visit Eastcliff to see you too. Standing on the other side of Oren, Kano murmured dissatisfiedly, what do you mean by seeing them, then what about me? You don't have to see me? Alex hurriedly smiled and said, of course I have to meet you as well. I made a mistake. I'll make time to see you, Uncle, and Auntie. Are you satisfied now? Kano hummed triumphantly, this is pretty much better. At this time, Oren said, by the way, Alex, I heard that Cynthia came to Oris Hill. Yes.
Alex smiled slightly, Uncle, have you heard about it?
Oren smiled and said, your grandpa called me this morning and told me about you and Cynthia.
Alex asked in surprise, he knows that I have met you.
Oren shook his head, he didn't know yet, so he thought I hadn't received your message, so he told me about you.
Alex asked puzzledly, why does he want to tell you these things?
Oren smiled and said, I see what he meant, mainly because he wanted to tell me your news, and then asked me if I was still willing to fulfill the promise I made with your dad and let you marry my daughter.
Alex couldn't help but feel embarrassed.
It seemed that Grandpa still wanted him to return to the Anderson family, and then let him marry Kano. At this time, Oren also saw Alex's embarrassment and hurriedly said, Alex, don't put any pressure on this matter. I just told your grandfather that I am willing to fulfill my promise, but I also said that in this matter the opinion of the children must be respected. After speaking, Oren said again, Alex, you still go at your own pace. Since I said our family waited for you for many years, we can wait for you for more. Alex nodded lightly and said, Uncle, thank you for your understanding. Oren waved his hand and said, Uncle's life is yours. You don't have to be so polite with me. Immediately, Oren said again, oh, yes, your grandfather asked me to persuade you. After all, you and Miss Cynthia are from the same family. Don't be so angry, let alone hurt the peace. Alex said, Uncle, my aunt is too domineering, and my grandfather doesn't give her the necessary restraint. When she arrived in Oris Hill, she drank and arrogated me, and went to my mother-in-law to gossip. She is really too arrogant. Oren nodded and said, Miss Cynthia is in Eastcliff. She is notoriously difficult to deal with. I didn't expect that going to Oris Hill would let you put her in her place. Alex said indifferently, if she were not too much, I wouldn't bother to be familiar with her. Oren smiled slightly and said, your grandfather still wants me to persuade you. If you have time, go back to the Anderson house. This year's spring festival will soon be over. After the Lantern Festival, it's almost March. He hopes you will conserve your energy and come back to join him in the ancestor worship ceremony held by the Anderson family in Anderson Rest Mountain. Alex asked in surprise, holding an ancestor worship ceremony? Yes. Oren said, your Anderson family originally held an ancestor worship ceremony once every 12 years. It happened to be this year, and Anderson Rest Mountain was under development for more than 3 years. The construction was just completed last spring. The Anderson family moved the ancestral tomb in the fall. So this year's Qingming Festival is also the first Qingming Festival since the tomb was moved to Anderson Rest Mountain. So your grandfather wants to hold a grand ceremony for ancestor worship. At that time, not only your Anderson family, but also dozens of Anderson branches across the country will participate. You are the grandson of the Anderson family, and he hopes you can be there, and formally pay homage to your parents by the way.